"Your dog or me, Derek," she said, pointing at her destroyed heels. "Did you leave them out on purpose?" I asked. Her eyes gave her away. I chose loyalty over lies. I still remember the exact moment I knew it was over. Not when Sophia threw her tantrum, not when she issued her ultimatum, but when I saw Max cowering in the corner, his golden fur trembling as he stared at the destroyed Jimmy Choo heels scattered across my living room floor. "Look what your precious dog did," Sophia's voice cut through the silence, sharp and accusatory. She stood there in her designer dress, pointing at the carnage like she was presenting evidence in court. $800, Derek. $800. Max's tail was tucked between his legs, his brown eyes darting between us with that guilty expression dogs get when they know they've messed up. But here's the thing about Max: he'd been with me for 8 years, ever since my sophomore year of college when everything fell apart. My dad's sudden death, my grades tanking, that dark period when I barely left my dorm room for weeks. The campus counselor suggested I get a pet, something to give me purpose. Max was just a puppy then, all paws and enthusiasm, and he literally saved my life. "He's never done anything like this before," I said, kneeling down to examine the damage. The shoes were definitely destroyed, leather torn, heels chewed, straps hanging like defeated ribbons. Something must have spooked him. "Spooked him?" Sophia's laugh was bitter. "Derek, face reality. Your dog is jealous of me. He does this stuff on purpose when I'm here. The chewed phone charger last month, the scratched couch, and now this. He's trying to drive me away." I looked at Max again, really looked at him. His ears were pinned back, but not in the way they got when he was being defiant. This was different. This was fear. "Where exactly did you leave the shoes?" I asked. "What does that matter? The point is—" "Where, Sophia?" She hesitated for just a second. "By the door, where I always leave them." But that wasn't right. Sophia never left her precious designer shoes by the door. She always put them in the bedroom closet, arranged them like little soldiers on her designated shelf. I'd watched her do it hundreds of times, this careful ritual of shoe placement that she claimed prevented damage and maintained their shape. "You left $800 shoes by the front door." I kept my voice level, curious rather than accusatory. "I was tired, okay? I had a long day at work and I just—" "Look, that's not the point." Her voice was rising now, that familiar edge creeping in when she felt cornered. "The point is your dog destroyed my property, and you're more concerned about where I put them than the fact that I'm out $800. I stood up slowly, brushing off my knees. Max's tail gave a tentative wag when he saw me moving, but he stayed in his corner. "Smart dog." "You're right," I said. $800 is a lot of money. Sophia's expression shifted, surprise replacing anger. She wasn't used to me agreeing with her so quickly. "I'll transfer it to your account tonight," I continued. "But I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me." She crossed her arms, designer handbag clutched tight against her chest like armor. "What? Did you put the shoes where Max could reach them on purpose?" The question hung in the air between us. I watched her face carefully, looking for tells, the slight twitch of her left eye when she was about to lie. The way her grip tightened on her purse strap when she felt defensive. "That's ridiculous," she said, but her voice lacked conviction. "Why would I do that?" "Because you've been looking for an excuse to have this conversation for months." And there it was, the flash of recognition in her eyes before she could hide it. The moment when someone realizes they've been caught in a trap they set for themselves. "Derek, I don't know what you're implying, but—" "I'm not implying anything. I'm asking directly. Did you deliberately put your expensive shoes somewhere Max could get to them so you could create this situation?" She stared at me for a long moment, and I could see the calculation happening behind her eyes. The weighing of options, the consideration of which lie would work best. Finally, she seemed to make a decision. "Fine," she said, her voice suddenly cold and controlled. "You want honesty? Here's honesty. I'm sick of playing second fiddle to a dog, Derek. I'm sick of planning our lives around his walking schedule and his feeding time and his separation anxiety. I'm sick of dog hair on my clothes and having to compete with a golden retriever for my boyfriend's attention." There it was, the truth, finally. "So yes," she continued, her voice gaining strength as she spoke. "I left the shoes out. I wanted to see what would happen. I wanted to see if you'd finally prioritize me over him for once." Max's tail stopped wagging. Even he could sense the shift in the room's energy. And now that you know, Sophia said, stepping closer to me, here's what's going to happen. You're going to choose, right now. It's me or your dog, Derek, decide. She said it with such confidence, such certainty that she already knew what my answer would be. Like this was just a formality, a necessary step before we could move forward with her vision of our relationship. I looked at Max, still cowering in his corner, and something shifted inside me. Not anger would have been messy, emotional, the kind of reaction she was probably expecting. No, this was something cleaner, clearer. Max, I said quietly. Come here, boy. His ears perked up, but he stayed put, unsure. It's okay, I said, patting my leg. Come here. He approached cautiously, his tail starting to wag again as he realized he wasn't in trouble. When he reached me, I scratched behind his ears the way he liked, and he leaned into my hand with that complete trust that only dogs can give. Good boy, I said. Then I looked up at Sophia. I've made my decision. Her smile was triumphant. I knew you'd see reason. We can start looking at apartments that don't allow pets and— Max, I interrupted, my voice clear and firm. Stay. Max sat immediately, his training kicking in. Then I looked directly at Sophia and said the words that would change everything. Bye-bye, Sophia. The silence that followed was deafening. Sophia stood frozen, her triumphant smile slowly melting into confusion, then disbelief, then something that looked almost like panic. What did you just say? Her voice was barely above a whisper. I said bye-bye. I kept my tone calm, matter-of-fact. Max stays, you go. Max's tail started wagging at the familiar command structure, though he remained in his sit position like the good boy he was. 8 years of training had taught him to read my voice, and right now, my voice was saying everything was going to be okay. You can't be serious. Sophia's laugh was sharp, brittle. Derek, you can't possibly be choosing a dog over me, over us, over what we have. What do we have, Sophia? I asked, genuinely curious. Because from where I'm standing, what we have is you manipulating situations to force me into impossible choices. What we have is you deliberately creating problems so you can position yourself as the solution. She started pacing then, her heels clicking against the hardwood floor in sharp, agitated steps. That's not. You're twisting this. I'm trying to build a future with you, Derek. A real future. Adults don't structure their entire lives around pets. Adults also don't sabotage their partner's belongings to manufacture drama. I bought those shoes myself. The volume was climbing now, her carefully controlled facade starting to crack. They were my shoes to do whatever I wanted with, including using them as bait to manipulate me into abandoning my dog. She stopped pacing, whirling to face me. He's not your child, Derek. He's an animal, a pet, and I'm your girlfriend of 2 years. You're right, I said. He's not my child, but he's been my family for 8 years. He was there when my dad died. He was there through my depression, through grad school, through every major moment of my adult life. He's never lied to me, never manipulated me, never asked me to choose between him and someone else I care about. Max's ears perked up at the gentle tone in my voice. His tail thumped once against the floor. And you know what else? I continued. In 8 years, he's never once destroyed something expensive just to make a point. That hit home. Sophia's face flushed red, and I could see her scrambling for a comeback, some way to regain control of the narrative. Fine, she said, her voice dropping to that dangerous, quiet tone she used when she was about to play her trump card. Fine, if that's how you want to play this, then let's talk about everything I've contributed to this relationship. The dinners I've paid for, the gifts I've bought you, the weekend trips I've planned and funded. Here it comes, I thought, the transaction breakdown. The relationship accounting that manipulative people always fell back on when they realized they were losing. Let's talk about the coffee maker I bought for your kitchen, she continued, warming up to her theme. The throw pillows for your couch, the art on your walls. The wine glasses in your cabinet, half the furniture in this place has my money in it. Okay, I said simply, take it. That stopped her cold. What? Take it, all of it, the coffee maker, the pillows, the art, the wine glasses, take whatever you paid for. I gestured around the apartment. I'll help you load it into your car. She stared at me like I'd started speaking a foreign language. You can't be serious. I'm completely serious. You're absolutely right, you did pay for those things. They're yours, take them. But that wasn't what she wanted to hear. The stuff wasn't the point, the leverage was the point. The ability to hold those contributions over my head, to use them as evidence of her investment in our relationship, to make me feel guilty and indebted. I don't want the stuff, Derek. I want you to stop being ridiculous and... Then what do you want, Sophia? Because you've made it clear that what you want is a version of me that doesn't include Max, and that version of me doesn't exist. She tried a different approach then, her voice softening, becoming almost pleading. Baby, listen to me. I know you love Max, I do, but we're talking about building a life together, getting married, having kids someday. Do you really want to be that couple that can't travel because of their dog, that can't live in certain apartments or houses because of pet restrictions? Max is 9 years old, Sophia. Golden retrievers live 12 to 15 years on average. We're talking about maybe 6 more years. 6 years is a long time, not compared to the 8 years of loyalty he's already given me. She was getting desperate now. I could see it in the way her hands were shaking slightly, the way her voice kept shifting between anger and pleading. You're being completely unreasonable. No woman is going to put up with this, Derek. No woman is going to accept being second to a dog. Then I guess I'll find out. You'll die alone, the words exploded out of her, all pretense of control finally abandoned. You'll die alone with your stupid mutt, and you'll regret this for the rest of your life. Max flinched at the sudden volume, but he stayed in his sit position, looking up at me for reassurance. I reached down and gave him a gentle pat. Maybe, I said, but at least I'll die with my integrity intact. Sophia started grabbing things, then her purse, her jacket, a book she'd left on the coffee table. Her movements were sharp, angry, theatrical. She was putting on a show, waiting for me to stop her, to call her back, to apologize and beg her to stay. I didn't. This is insane, she muttered, shoving items into her purse. Absolutely insane. 2 years, Derek. 2 years of my life I've invested in this relationship, and you're throwing it away for a dog. I'm not throwing anything away, I said quietly. I'm choosing not to abandon a family member to appease someone who thinks love should come with ultimatums. She paused at the door, her hand on the handle, and for a moment I thought she might try one more approach. The tears, maybe, or the final desperate plea. Instead, she turned back to me with something cold and calculating in her eyes. You know what? Fine, have your precious dog, but don't think this is over, Derek. Don't think you can just dismiss me like I'm nothing. I've put too much into this relationship to let you walk away without consequences. The threat was clear, even if the specifics weren't. But I'd been dealing with Sophia's manipulation tactics for 2 years. I knew her playbook. Goodbye, Sophia, I said. She slammed the door hard enough to rattle the windows. Max's ears flattened at the noise, but his tail was still wagging. He looked up at me with those trusting brown eyes, and I swear he looked relieved. Good boy, I said, scratching behind his ears. Good boy for staying. His tail wagged harder, and he leaned into my hand with that complete, uncomplicated affection that only dogs can give. No conditions, no ultimatums, no manipulation, just love. I should have felt sad or angry or something. Instead, I felt lighter than I had in months. Like I'd been holding my breath for a long time and could finally exhale. Come on, Max, I said, heading toward the kitchen. Let's get you a treat. You've had a rough day. As I reached for the treat jar, my phone buzzed with a text message. I glanced at it, already knowing who it would be from. The real consequences were just beginning. The first text came 20 minutes after she left. I can't believe you're really doing this. Call me when you come to your senses. I deleted it without responding. Max was sprawled across the couch, finally relaxed, his head resting on the spot where Sophia used to sit. By morning, I had 43 notifications. Sophia had been busy. Her Instagram story was a masterpiece of manipulation. A photo of her tear-stained face with the caption, "When you realize someone you love will never prioritize you over anything else emotional unavailable, know your worth." The next slide showed her damaged shoes. Some people show love through actions, others choose animals over humans. But the direct messages revealed her real strategy. She'd messaged my friend Jake's girlfriend Emma. Hey girl, I wanted to give you a heads up about Derek. He has serious commitment issues and prioritizes his dog over human relationships. Just thought you should know in case Jake mentions him as relationship goals. Emma screenshotted it and sent it to Jake, who forwarded it to me with, Dude, your ex is unhinged. She'd sent similar warnings to 3 other girlfriends in our friend group, each message slightly different, testing which narrative would stick. The call that crossed the line came Tuesday afternoon. My phone rang with my mother's number. Derek, honey, I just got the most concerning call from Sophia. She said you've been having some kind of breakdown and using Max to avoid dealing with your mental health issues. Mom, what did you tell her? I told her that was the biggest load of nonsense I'd ever heard, and if she called me again with lies about my son, I'd have choice words for her. My mother's voice was incredulous. She actually expected me to be on her side. I told her any woman who asks a man to abandon his dog isn't worth keeping around. I love you, Mom. Give Max a pat from Grandma. Wednesday brought food delivery harassment. Pizza, Chinese, Thai, Indian all ordered to my address, all cash on delivery, all orders I hadn't placed. Thursday, animal control arrived. Officer Martinez stood on my doorstep with a clipboard. We received a complaint about an aggressive dog. Caller reported your dog bit someone and you're refusing rabies evaluation. Max chose that moment to roll over and show his belly, tongue lolling out. That the aggressive dog. Officer Martinez chuckled. After 10 minutes playing with Max and reviewing vaccination records, he said, "Whoever called this in gave detailed descriptions of bite wounds that don't match anything here. False reports are actually a misdemeanor. Ex-girlfriend. How'd you guess? 20 years on this job. Document everything: texts, calls, social media. If this escalates, you'll want evidence." That evening, Sophia tagged me in a new post, a photo of her arm with scratches, captioned, "When you try to love someone's sweet dog and this happens. Some animals sense when someone threatens their territory. Traumatized dogs of Instagram." Comments exploded. "That dog should be put down. Why isn't the owner doing anything?" I sent the screenshot to my friend Alicia, a vet tech. Her response, "Not even close to a dog bite. These look self-inflicted. If a golden retriever actually bit someone, there'd be much more damage. This is fake as hell." But the post spread rapidly. Strangers began messaging me. "Your dog is a menace. Hope that beast gets put down. You're going to regret not controlling your animal." My phone buzzed with a message from building management. "We've received complaints about your dog. Please contact the office immediately." I looked at Max, peacefully chewing his rope toy, tail thumping when he noticed me watching. "Don't worry, boy," I said. "We're going to get through this." But as the comments multiplied and shares spread, I realized Sophia had weaponized social media to turn strangers against us. She declared war, and the real battle was just beginning. The building management meeting was scheduled for Friday morning. I walked into the leasing office with a folder full of documentation: Max's vaccination records, training certificates, and screenshots of Sophia's social media campaign. The property manager, Janet, looked uncomfortable. "Derek, we've received multiple complaints about your dog being aggressive. Normally we'd start eviction proceedings, but these reports are inconsistent." "Inconsistent how?" "Well, 3 different people called claiming your dog attacked them, but they all described different locations and times. One said it happened in the lobby Tuesday morning, another said the parking garage Wednesday evening, and the third claimed it was by the mailboxes Thursday afternoon." I pulled out my phone and showed her my work calendar. I was in back-to-back meetings Tuesday morning, worked late Wednesday, and Max was at doggy daycare Thursday afternoon. I have receipts for all of it. Janet nodded slowly. "We also received a complaint that your dog barks constantly and disturbs neighbors, but I checked with maintenance, they've never logged a noise complaint about your unit in 2 years. Someone's filing false reports," I said simply. "We figured. Look, we're not taking any action, but document everything. If this person escalates, we might need to involve law enforcement." The vindication felt good, but I knew Sophia wasn't done. Her next move came that afternoon when my friend Marcus called. "Dude, you need to see what happened at Sarah's brunch today." Sarah was part of our extended friend group, someone Sophia had been trying to win over. Sophia showed up uninvited and started telling everyone about your dangerous dog and how you're mentally unstable. How'd that go over? Not well. See, here's the thing: Sophia told 3 different versions of the story to 3 different people. She told Jessica that Max bit her unprovoked. She told Amanda that Max attacked her when she tried to discipline him. And she told Sarah that Max went crazy and destroyed her stuff while trying to bite her. I could hear the satisfaction in Marcus's voice. Jessica and Amanda were sitting right next to each other when Sophia was talking to Sarah. They started comparing notes and the whole story fell apart in real time. What happened then? Sarah asked Sophia to leave, told her she was clearly lying and that she didn't appreciate being manipulated. The whole table went silent and Sophia just melted down, started crying about how no one understood what she was going through. But Sophia's biggest mistake was yet to come. Monday morning, I got a call from my company's HR department. "Derek, we received a concerning call about you over the weekend. Someone claiming to be your ex-girlfriend said you were having mental health issues and might be a danger to yourself or others." My stomach dropped. What exactly did she say? She claimed you were isolating yourself with your dog, showing signs of depression, and that she was worried about your stability. She suggested we do a wellness check. And what did you tell her? We told her that if she had genuine concerns about someone's safety, she should contact appropriate authorities, not someone's employer. We also informed her that making false reports about an employee's mental health could constitute harassment. The HR representative paused. "Derek, is there something going on we should know about? I broke up with my girlfriend last week and she's been escalating her harassment ever since. I have documentation if you need it. Please send that over. We take employee safety seriously, including protection from harassment." That afternoon brought Sophia's most desperate move yet. She showed up at the pet store where I bought Max's food, trying to get him banned from the premises. The store manager, Lisa, called me directly. "Your ex-girlfriend was just here claiming your dog bit her and demanding we refuse service to you. She showed me some scratches on her arm as proof." "What did you tell her?" "I told her we have security cameras covering the entire store, and if she'd like to file a formal complaint, we'd be happy to review the footage with police present." Lisa's voice was amused. She left pretty quickly after that. "Wait, you have cameras?" "Oh yeah, HD footage going back 30 days. Your dog has never shown any aggressive behavior here. He's actually one of our favorites. Always gentle with kids, never reactive to other dogs. If someone wanted to dispute that, we'd have plenty of evidence." The irony was perfect. Sophia had been so focused on creating a narrative that she'd forgotten about objective reality. Security cameras don't lie, and they don't fall for manipulation tactics. That evening, I was walking Max when my phone rang. It was Jake. "Dude, Sophia just called Emma crying, asking her to talk sense into you because you're destroying your life over a dog." "What did Emma say?" "She told Sophia that any woman who would ask a man to abandon his loyal pet probably wasn't worth keeping around." Then she hung up. The next morning brought the final piece of evidence I needed. Sophia had posted another Instagram story, this one showing her at a coffee shop with the caption, "Sometimes you have to accept that some people will never grow up. Moving on to better things. New chapter, know your worth." But she'd made a crucial error. The timestamp on the post was from yesterday afternoon, the same time she'd told my HR department she was worried about my mental health and concerned for my safety. Someone genuinely concerned about an ex-partner's well-being doesn't simultaneously post about moving on to better things and knowing your worth. The contradiction was perfect evidence of her true motivations. I screenshot everything and forwarded it to HR with a note. As you can see, her concern for my well-being appears to be somewhat selective. By Wednesday, the harassment had largely stopped. No more fake food deliveries, no more anonymous messages, no more calls to my friends and family. Sophia had overplayed her hand, and everyone could see it. The final confirmation came when Marcus texted me. "Sophia's been trying to get people to take her side, but she's told so many different versions of what happened that nobody believes her anymore. Jessica said she's basically persona non grata in the friend group now." I looked down at Max, who was contentedly chewing his favorite toy, completely unaware that he'd been the center of a social media war. His tail wagged when he noticed me watching him. "Good boy," I said, scratching behind his ears. "We made it through." But the real victory was yet to come. 6 months later, I was at our neighborhood coffee shop with Max when I saw her. Sophia sat alone at a corner table, scrolling through her phone with that desperate energy of someone checking for notifications that weren't coming. She looked up and our eyes met. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then she stood and walked over. "Derek," she said quietly, "how are you?" "Good," I said simply. Max's tail wagged as he recognized her because dogs don't hold grudges. "I heard you're fostering dogs now." "Yeah, helping golden retrievers find homes. Max is great with the new arrivals." She glanced down at Max, then back at me. "And you're seeing someone?" "Luna, she loves dogs." I kept my voice neutral. She actually volunteers at the rescue with me. Sophia's face fell slightly. That's good, you seem happy. I am. She stood there for another moment like she wanted to say more. Maybe apologize, maybe try one more manipulation. Instead, she just nodded. Take care, Derek. You too, Sophia. She walked away and I watched her go. No anger, no satisfaction, just the quiet peace that comes from knowing you made the right choice. Max looked up at me with those trusting brown eyes, tail still wagging. Come on, boy, I said, standing up. Luna's waiting for us at the park. As we walked toward the door, my phone buzzed with a text from Luna. How's my favorite rescue team? Max and I picked out a new toy for the puppies. I smiled and typed back. On our way. Max can't wait to meet the new arrivals. Some choices define who you are. I chose loyalty and loyalty chose me back.